Our first guest is part of the biggest rock band in the world, the Foo Fighters, selling out venues such as Wembley Stadium. They've won Best Rock Album at the Grammys a staggering 5 times, wow, Ryan. Yes. And guess what? In 2024, they can make it 6.
That's an impressive read, right? And when he's not doing that, Chris Shiflett is recording and touring his own album. Before we chat with him, he's in LA and we're here. Let's get a taste of his latest album. Oh, you can feel the beat, yes. And that was Chris's single, Damage Control. And he joins us now. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're a little jealous that you are in LA. Is it around, what, 10 o'clock in the morning for you?
It's 10 a.m. in the morning. I just got back from Australia last night.
Wow.
I'm super jet lagged, so but I'm like, I've been like, you know, got my kids off to school and have been like slowly unpacking my bags all morning.
Yeah,
so
nothing like a quiet home to soothe the jet lag, you know?
So 2 welcomes to you. First of all, welcome to the 6 o'clock show. Welcome back from Australia. We hear you were touring down there. Chris, what was that like?
It was great. It's always great down there. It's, you know, I'm from California, and Australia kind of combines like culturally, it's like super California meets like UK, you know, British vibes, you know, so you get a little bit of both and lots of time at the beach, and it's just great. And it's such a big country that you always wind up having a bunch of days off to kind of go do, you know, whatever you're into. There's got it.
A lot of Irish people actually living in Australia as well.
Sure.
Now, but I don't know if you would find them at the Australian beaches. You know, not too many of them are fans of the sun. Yeah. But you spend your days off surfing the Aussie waves. So I have to ask you this: does that help when you want to wind down, especially after a gig, because it's such a high and then a bit of a come down after?
Yeah, it's kind of actually works better before the gig. The last gig that we played was in Brisbane, and we were staying over in Byron Bay. And so the day of that show, I went and surfed with my friends at Rainbow Bay, which is like right next to Snapper, pretty famous break. And we just surfed all day, and just, you know, you're just like sun bleached by the time you get to the show. And I, you know, took a little nap on the drive in and had a cup of coffee, and it's just like, it just puts you in just the right kind of mental and physical state for the gig, I feel like.
Well, Chris, we just saw your picture there. You can actually surf. This isn't just a little surfer class. You can actually surf some waves.
Well, I will say that those pictures that you just showed were in a wave pool, actually. That wasn't the out there in the open ocean, but
we just
still,
made you look really
look
good.
At that.
Don't ruin it, Chris. Let people believe you're great at it.
Stop talking.
Now, regarding surfing, Chris, I think you should bring a wetsuit, pack one, when you're in Ireland next year. We've great surf over here, especially the west of Ireland.
Coast in Lahinch.
In Lahinch,
oh, yeah.
Yes. Are you looking forward to playing over here for the Irish audiences?
Oh, yeah, Irish audiences are always great. I don't know that we'll actually have time to surf. You guys have those big, crazy, slabby waves, too, man. That's a little beyond my ability. But yeah, it's, the gigs are going to be great. I've never played Belfast as a solo artist, so we added that one in because I've gotten a lot of feedback from fans and stuff over the years that we should come play. So it'll be great to get back to Dublin. It's always fantastic. I've played there a couple times over the years, solo, and the shows have been great. So looking forward to it.
Chris, I'll ask them to stick in a wave pool for you, don't worry. But in regards to your gig, this is for your latest solo project, Lost at Sea, which has a bit of like a country / rock and roll influence to it. But when it comes to the country sound that you get off it, where did that inspiration come from?
You know, I'm a big fan of country music, and have just been listening to it for a long time. So it's just kind of seeped into my music over the years, that influence. You know, It's everything from like old Stones records to Buck Owens to Steve Earle. It just kind of all gets in there.
Is it true you recorded a lot of the album in Nashville? And as a musician and songwriter, how did Nashville inspire you, Chris?
Oh, it really in a huge way. I mean, I've made my last 3 records out there. And over the years have gotten to be friends with a lot of musicians around, that live in Nashville and are in that world, and a lot of the songwriters and producers and everybody. And it's, of course, the music that comes out of that town is a gigantic influence on me. But just getting to go out there and play with those folks and make records with those folks has just been an education for sure. And each time it just kind of evolves into something different, but it's just always great. I love it. I love that feeling of bringing an idea into a room full of great players and just seeing where it goes. And it always turns into something better than you start with.
Nashville looks beautiful as well.
Yeah. Now, speaking of great players, your new music podcast, Shred It with Shifty, is where you chat to other guitarists, like guitarists that you love and admire. And I got to ask you how it was geeking out with the Nile Rodgers.
Oh, he was so cool. First off, I just couldn't believe that we landed him as an interview. That was when we were just kicking off the podcast. And he was just such a good get and just such a cool, gracious, just wonderful guy and a great storyteller. And what a career. The guy has just been making incredible records forever. And you think about his playing and his songwriting and his production, and it's just like it's been there almost my entire life, going back to Chic and all that. So yeah, it was amazing. I learned a lot from it because he probably more than any other player that I've interviewed, his style of guitar playing is like pretty different from what I do and sort of what I came out of with like heavy rock and punk rock and stuff. So just that in itself was an education. Just kind of geeking out on all those cool like jazzy inversions and stuff. He's an interesting player because when you hear it, you don't really hear kind of how sophisticated it is, what he's doing. It sounds maybe just to the casual listener a little simpler, and then you really dig into what he's doing, and it's like, oh wow, there's a lot there.
Oh, the music lovers are going to love this.
Of course. You mentioned the word career there. Chris, is it true you auditioned for another band, but you accepted the Foo Fighters instead?
It's not actually true. That is a there's
that told me that.
Fill us in.
But tell us the tea.
Well, there are 2 long-standing internet rumors that have stuck with me forever, and I will never play them down. One is that at a certain point I had to make a decision whether to be a professional footballer or a musician. That is not true. And the other one is that I auditioned for Guns N' Roses, or even some people, I'd sometimes hear it like I was in Guns N' Roses or something. It's not true. I maybe could have had an opportunity to audition for them, but that was at that point where it was not like the Guns N' Roses that we all know. It was like Axl and a bunch of other people, and they were long in between making records and all that stuff. So it never happened. The only band I auditioned for around that time was the Foo Fighters, and I got the gig.
Yes, but also, technically, I'm not that wrong. If he had the opportunity, he could have done it, right?
Well, the real story was that a good friend of mine, my friend Bill Armstrong, who was the guy that was actually responsible for getting me the audition for the Foo Fighters, around that same time was like, hey, I heard Guns N' Roses are looking for a guitar player. And in that conversation was when I said, hey, I heard Foo Fighters are looking for a guitar player. Like, see if you can get me an audition there. And he did. And that's all there was to that story.
And it worked out.
Chris, I saw another internet rumor. I'm not sure if it's true, but are you an Arsenal fan?
I am.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank God
I can
that's true.
Confirm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, before we leave you, congrats are in order because you guys have been nominated for Best Rock Song, Best Rock Album, and in that category for the Grammy Awards, Best Rock Album, this could be your 6th win. So does it still feel surreal? Like, what is it like getting all those nominations? Or is it just like, another one?
No, it's pretty great, that going to the Grammys is always really fun. You get to put on a nice suit. I'm not in a nice suit all that often. My wife gets dressed up. It like totally validates what your weird life choices to your mom, and it's great. I love it.
It's great for bragging, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm actually wearing a nice suit tonight.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is it a thumbs up for the suit?
We don't get in them that often. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Give it up for Chris, everybody.
Woo! Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Chris will be playing in the Academy. Yes, on Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Tickets are available from ticketmaster.ie, so go grab them.